2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Backyard Quarterbacks with Adam, Ryan in the FSU gear, Tyler in the Gator gear. If you get a chance, please like, subscribe, comment to the video. We'll be doing once a week uploads and just brief background. 3 childhood friends, huge Jaguar fans for all of us. And then me and Ryan are big Florida State fans, and then Tyler's a huge Gator fan. So we're going to talk about the games each week, a little bit of other things that we like to, talk about. But we appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to try to do it weekly, so stay with us. Before we hop into the football, guys, how was y'all's weekend? Anything fun happen or?
Yeah, I had a good weekend.
Yeah, we know Tyler did. Went to Gainesville. Football-wise, it was not a good weekend for me, but, we'll get into that here shortly.
Yeah, same.
Adam, you ever ran from the police before?
Well, that's kind of a weird segue. Now that you mention it, Ryan, yeah, I have. So you happen to be the person with me. So yeah, this is kind of a little funny story. This was back when we were in college. So let's call it, 2003, 2004. And my mom had a vehicle that on the weekends I like to drive. And, I had an old Ford Explorer. Hardle, you had almost the same Explorer as well.
Yeah, I had a 91. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was a 94, but yours was an Eddie Bauer, so it was still nicer. But yeah, so, me and my friends, anytime we got the chance, I'd beg mom to, take her SUV and we, do whatever we did on the weekends and, Friday nights. This happened to be, I guess, on either the summer or a Saturday day or Sunday day. So me and Hartle, we were on the way to the Regency Mall. This was back when people actually went there. We were probably going to the food court to get Sarku Japan or Chick-fil-A or something. I don't know. And there was this road that connected Arlington to the Regency Mall called Southside Connector. And it was only about a mile and a half long. Speed limit's 55. It's not a full-on interstate like 95 where it's 70 or 80. And the vehicle was very fast. And I, Hartle was with me. I don't know if he was egging me on or probably not. I was just being an idiot.
I think you were telling me dude, you won't believe how fast this thing will go. And as soon as you got on Southside Connector, it was pedal to the floor. I think you did your whole little you start sitting up a little bit higher as the speed increased.
Yeah. That does make sense. That Adam, I just did it unprovoked.
I don't think you ever needed anybody to egg you on for speed.
Yeah, for sure. So I just get on it right away. And, within a few seconds, we're at 100. We get to 110, maybe 115. And it was two lanes on either side. So the coming back, it was separated by a grass median, fairly big. And we're going 115 at this point. So we're almost to the mall already. And 2 motorcycle cops come towards us on the opposite side of the road. They do that. They both raise their hands
halt.
Yeah, right. So I'm freaking out immediately. Yeah. I'm getting on the brakes. I don't think they had radar, but they could tell that this burgundy SUV was going 120 down a road that was 50, right?
Yeah.
So I start to slow down. Hartle's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So he's go. "Dude, go." Yeah, he's like, "Go." And I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know if he said it or if I thought it. I'm like, "Yeah, I just pretend I didn't see him, Mm-hmm. So we go, and before we get to Atlantic, there's these service roads. So there's the service road. Hartle lived over in the area where we went eventually, but he's turn down this way. There's a dealership that used to be right there at Atlantic and Southside. We cut through there. Yep. Yeah. We cut through there. We go down all these back roads in Arlington, and we get to his house finally. Didn't see the cops behind us. I don't know. Hartle, do you remember if they were chasing us or?
So we never saw the cops behind us because as soon as that straightaway and I did say, I was like, just say you didn't see him. Just say you didn't see him. And so I feel like you probably slow down to I don't know, 85, 90. You're flooring it again. And you go over the overpass that would be Regency Square Boulevard. And so I'm sitting in the passenger looking behind they're not coming. I'm like, cut in the Pontiac dealership. So we go into Pontiac dealership. So we're going through. There's an exit on the other side, which is Mill Creek Road. Like, take a right, take a right. So this is like Sin City is to your left when we're taking a right. Went all the way down to Arlington Expressway. We got on from the service road to Arlington Expressway, and this is the spot where you can actually do a U-turn on Arlington Expressway to go back the other way. Got off on Arlingwood, boom, headed my house. I'm talking about that quick. They had no idea, and we're thinking like, heck yeah, we just got all this trouble, hundreds of dollars. I mean, you're going double the speed limit, over 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, I could go to jail, I'm sure. Yeah, and I back it in. Like, I think our thought process was like, oh, if we're backed in, they can't see the plates. Also, it looks like we didn't just pull in if they were looking for like a burgundy SUV. You know what I mean?
Like, oh, that would take too long to park. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. Unless the cops like come up and feel the hood and see it's hot. But yeah, so we're like, scot free, right? I'm like, dude, that was crazy. Like, I can't believe we ran from the cops, and so thought it was over. A couple months ago down the road, my parents, they go on this cross country trip to Colorado and California in the same SUV. And, they get back and they're like, my dad's like, hey, we need to talk to you. They're like, I'm helping them unload baggage and all this other stuff. And so my dad is like, get in the car and like turns it to where like the electronics come on, but doesn't crank it. And there's like, these trip computers and all this stuff. And my trip computer, my 94 Explorer said how many miles you've gone on this trip A, trip B, and your total miles, right? Well, they had found out on this 2-week trip playing around with the car because it was still relatively new. It tracked every day the top speed of the damn car. So you're thinking, man, that one day they saw you go fast, you could just be like, oh, letting it breathe, or like it was my first time in it. Bro, it was like every other day I drove it. And my mom would never go over like 65. They're seeing like 100, 101, 110, 115. I'm like, shit.
You had the same experience with all your different friends. You're like, yo, this thing goes fast.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had that same story with every friend that ever rode in the car.
Just we the ones that ran from the cops.
Yeah. So yeah, they were like, all right, yeah, you're driving your car from now on. And lasted for like a month, and I begged my mom and just had to. I did look to see if you could delete it. There was no, Cadillac would not let you delete that shit, bro. I'm like, damn, man. So yeah, that was that story. So yeah, that was a kind of a throwback, and to give you a testament of how long we've been friends, that was, like I said, 2003 or 4. But yeah, good times. Let's hop into some games though. So Tyler, you went down to Gainesville. You went to the stadium. You went to the game. So Tennessee at UF. Talk about the game, your experience at game day. Go for that.
Yeah. So this is my first ever time going to see the Vols play the Gators. So I was really excited about that because they've been a long time rival. And I've always loved that game. Had some really exciting moments. So I was super excited to get to go to this game. And it was a great atmosphere. It was fun getting to go down there and seeing such a packed crowd, even before the game, and all the the events and stuff that were going on, the food trucks and everything. It was really cool to see just such a big crowd. And got into the game. We had really good seats. We were like on the 25-yard line, about 4 rows up.
Did y'all do anything before the game?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we stopped in at Tijuana Flats, and I sent you guys the picture of the gigantic beer that we got there, and it was 64 ounces. It was humongous. I didn't really think about how many beers that was going into it, but it's a little bit more than 5 beers that I had less than an hour to drink. So it was, but it was good. It was fun, and had a good time.
So yeah, the main question: did you finish that beer?
I did.
Nice.
I did. I wasn't gonna let that go.
Yeah. So we'll try to add
personal challenge.
Yeah, we'll try to add the picture to either Facebook or YouTube. But you sent the picture in the group, and I assumed it was a beer. It's game day. Your pregame tailgating. But I'm like, there's no way you can buy a beer that big. Like I didn't know what it was. Like maybe
like a pitcher, maybe. Or,
yeah.
Yeah, so, actually, how much is a pitcher? Because I wonder if it was even more than.
Yeah, pitchers, I think usually like 5 or 6 beers, maybe 5.5.
I feel like they gotten cheap with those like really like those clear ones, those real, those Lighthouse grill,
Almost like the
$3,
cup Tyler had.
$3 Long Island teas. Those things that had to be like 45 ounces. But a traditional pitcher, I feel like it'd be like 56 ounces, 60. So yeah, right around.
So basically, I was walking around with a pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't get on this tonight or today. But for our Jacksonville friends that are listening in the future, we will have some Lighthouse Grill stories right there on the Intercoastal, if you guys remember that. So we'll hop into that in the future. But so Tyler, you finished the beer. I had faith that you would. So you get to the game. Talk to us about the game itself and what you liked, what you didn't like, and moving forward, what you think.
Yeah. So like I said, it was exciting. Great atmosphere. It was loud the entire time. It was super loud when we were on defense. So the crowd really brought it and did their part. And you could really tell it messed with the offense at times. So it was fun to get to be there and experience that. Get to be that close and just get to see how it's when you get that close and get to appreciate how big those kids are. Because they really are monsters.
Especially
Ryan,
Wilson.
Well, you sent a picture of him.
436 pounds. He's a big boy. Is it Wilson or
I might be wrong.
I can't remember I actually can't remember his name.
We have a picture of that also. We had on there.
And you also sent a picture.
But Gator fans know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, you sent a picture pregame also of AR-15 on the sideline. And I guess you said it looks like he's not playing.
Well, yeah. So he obviously obviously he wasn't playing. Yeah, because he had his helmet. Well, by the time I think I mentioned that, like, he just was not suiting up. He wasn't getting ready, or he wasn't putting his helmet on, getting ready to go out there. So after a while, it became obvious that he's not going to get to play. And being in the stadium, you don't really get to hear, if they said it on TV ahead of times, if he's going to play or not. So, but I did hear in Dan's press conference that he will be practicing. He'd practice this week, so he should be. I was expected to practice this week, so he should be ready to go for next week. But it was a good game, even without AR-15. I think it went the way that most people expected, that Tennessee made it a game early on in the second half. The Gators really pulled away. And again, Emory Jones looked good, played a really good game. I think he was 204 passing, 144 rushing, and that hasn't been done since Tebow. So it was fun to see an effective offense where he's a real run threat, and the defenses have to respect that, and that opens up some passing lanes. And but overall, really good game, and still excited for the rest of the season. Yeah. It's going to be good. And again, looking at Georgia game, no fault of their own.
They had a decent game.
Right. But it doesn't look like they've been challenged. It looks like Clemson's not going to be anywhere close to the Clemson of the past few years. So we still don't really know what Georgia's got, but I mean, everybody still thinks that they're going to be really good. So that's going to be a really tough game. But few tough games in there. Kentucky always plays us good, so we'll see how that goes. But still excited for this season, and everything's looking good. And to be able to have Anthony Richardson hopefully back and maybe coming in, making some big plays, and throwing some more excitement in there, will be a lot of fun. But I think Jones looks good, and defense is looking good. Just got to get some turnovers.
Yep. The couple takeaways I had from it, because I watched that game. The first half looked very similar to the Alabama game. Just the roles were reversed. I think
minus the score.
Right. So exactly. So going into the half, 14-17, y'all lead, but they had missed like a 40-yard field goal where it easily could have been 17-17 going into the half. And granted, it's Tennessee. You guys are really, really good. I don't think it, would have demoralized you guys, but it's just crazy to see, that you got, the score wasn't the same after the half as Alabama. I mean, the same as in you guys just might be a second half team, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you don't let it get out of hand in the first half,
Yeah, I'd rather be a second half team than a first half team. So
for sure.
I mean, I'd ideally rather just dominate from start to finish. But if you had to pick only one half, I'd rather be the second half. And I mean, honestly, it's not just the field goals. There were definitely some opportunities for their wide receivers that were open to make big plays, and they just missed them, or they didn't make the play. That running back, number 8 for Tennessee, is really good. He's just a big play waiting to happen. Had several big runs, and great that we were able to stop him from scoring in the second half. And so they didn't, they didn't score after that 14. So.
All right. So Emory Jones, you got to think the last 6 quarters, pretty impressive. I mean, where do you start putting AR-15 in also and not hinder what he's able to perform?
Yeah, so that'll be interesting because Dan Mullen's going to put him back in there once he's healthy. So, and I think Gator fans want to see him just because he's electric and big things happen when he gets the ball in his hands. Hopefully that's the case when he gets in against SEC competition. But definitely was the case for the first 2 games. So I definitely think he's going to continue to play him. Dan just seems to like the 2 quarterback system. Hopefully he doesn't let it take us to a fault. I mean, last year, Emory Jones, when he came in, he did good in that 2 quarterback system. But then it would be Kyle Trask would seem to maybe struggle a little bit when he'd get in a rhythm and then we pull him. To put Emory Jones in, almost like this obligatory, like let him get his set of downs in. So it will be interesting to see when he brings him back that how that's going to go. If it goes smooth, then he'll continue to do it. But
I can hear him now. Well, I did it in 2006. Chris Leak, Tim Tebow.
Yeah. I actually just watched something. Was it yesterday? I think with Tim Tebow talking to both of them, and he brought up, like I kind of did the same thing. But heck, Tim Tebow was a glorified fullback that first year, really, which was huge because he came in on some very key downs to get us those 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s. But he wasn't. His first year wasn't electric like what Anthony Richardson's been so far. So, but it'll be interesting to see because in the first 2 games, like the first game against FAU, granted it's FAU, Emory Jones looked good. And then pulled him out to put in Anthony Richardson to let him have his go. And then Anthony Richardson, I think maybe his helmet came off or something like that. He had to get pulled out. And so you put Emory Jones, in there just to get us when we're down in the red zone. And I believe that's when he threw a pick. Whatever the result was, we didn't get a touchdown. It didn't look good. And then he didn't look good really after that. So hopefully we don't go back to that. And the Emory Jones is now settled down, having 2 games in big competition where he's performed well, and then he can still continue to perform well once he gets out there with Anthony Richardson coming in his series of downs.
I think another thing I had, sorry to cut you off, Adam, it's just like when FSU loses a game, we don't sell out the next game. Like, why do y'all lose a game and it's a sellout? You know what I mean? Like,
because it was Alabama.
Yeah, the Alabama effect. Man.
Yeah. So,
like you said, it's surprised we didn't jump up in the rankings after losing Alabama.
Tyler, just to clarify, that game that you're talking about with Emory and the pick, that was against Alabama.
No,
the first game, the FAU.
Oh, the first. Okay.
Willie Taggart.
Yeah, Willie Taggart.
Yeah, gotcha. I agree. You're talking about like Tim Tebow being a glorified quarter or fullback. I think he's out of eligibility, right? He ain't walking through that door.
No, he used up all his eligibility
so they're gonna have to.
I don't think COVID works for guys who weren't already on the team.
Right.
And we also talked about this. It may have been the last show, but one of you guys mentioned, just the confidence of you don't ever want anyone to be hurt, right? Especially AR-15, but Emory having the confidence of knowing that, okay, I'm the starter today unless I break something. So that's got to be a little bit of a confidence builder, just knowing like, all right, if I throw a pick, I'm not getting pulled. So I think that helps just like with your mental, confidence as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's either way he's had like his confidence is definitely there. You can see it and it's different than the first 2 games. So whether or not that's directly correlated with Anthony Richardson, it's impossible to say. I guess maybe we'll be able to tell. Hopefully we won't be able to tell because hopefully he, his confidence stays regardless of the situation for Kentucky. But it does seem that has helped him.
Pretty amazing. Y'all go from one of the best passing attacks in college football to
and actually not very good in the run game, even though we had these three really good running backs on the team last year. And I guess it's probably mostly related to the offensive line issues. But yeah, I mean, we'll completely well, not completely flip script because we're not terrible at passing, but
Pitts with the 4th overall pick, tight end / receiver dynamic, and then you had the Tony guy. Is that his name? That was like also
Kadarius Toney. Yeah.
So and then now it's like
joystick.
Yep. It's just interesting how I guess that's props to Dan Mullen. I mean, his hands are in the offense all the time. You know, he's head coach, right? I mean,
yeah. He's always seems to be scheming. So the way he runs the offense, I don't think anybody can really complain about what he's able to do with those offensive guys. So his issues come in recruiting, and then our issues come with defense giving up big plays on key downs.
Yeah. Tyler, real quick, my last thing about Florida before we move on. Do you see any scenario where Emory and AR-15 can amicably split time, whether it be, one set of downs or one quarter or one half? Or do you think that Mullen is the type of a coach that's going to say, all right, this is our guy, this is who we're going with, regardless of a pick six or a interception in the end zone or, a crucial fumble? Is there any talk on message boards or anyone that that's saying, yeah, man, Emory had such a good game. We know, AR-15 is so talented. They might split time. Is that a possibility?
Well, I guarantee you on message boards, there's people just straight calling for Anthony Richardson. You know how message boards go. But if you're talking about split time, I assume you mean almost split it equally, because the plan's definitely to get AR his reps in there. So I don't. That's definitely not. Dan Mullen does not want that. That's not what he's going for. I think what he's definitely tried to establish is clear starter in Emory Jones, and then another quality backup who's going to get his playing time in Anthony Richardson. And that's the plan going forward. Now, how bad Emory Jones has to play before Anthony Richardson takes over as a starting quarterback, I mean, the outlook's not good there because of the recent history of Felipe Franks in that situation. If Felipe Franks not gotten hurt, we never would have known how good Kyle Trask could be.
Right.
And we definitely wouldn't have had the success we had over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. So let's move on. And just for anyone watching, yes, I did switch rooms. The first episode we recorded, I was even earlier in this podcast. So this is all new to us. We're trying some new things out. But the first time we recorded, I wanted to have the Sunday night game in the background, kind of watching. And but yeah, we're just trying some new things out. So it might be this room in the future. It might be on the couch in front of the TV. We'll see.
Bathroom.
I mean, hey, if we're recording and something hits, if I had Chipotle that day, the show must go on. And
maybe the bathroom acoustics are perfect.
I was about to say the bathroom might have some good acoustics.
Hey, I haven't seen it tried, so we'll be pioneers.
Backyard quarterbacks are, if nothing, we're innovators. But Harlow, do you want to get into the obvious better team of the year, the FSU game?
Yeah, definitely. I'll take that. Tyler, you're not drinking moonshine, are you? What's that?
No, I know. Okay. It's a mason jar, but it's not moonshine.
Like some cinnamon apple pie, whatever they call it.
Yeah,
we're in the process of. So who knows?
We're in the process of building a house, so a lot of stuff's packed away, which includes all my good whiskey glasses.
So, Florida State hung another loss, going to 0-4 now.
Perfect so far.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like I've kind of talked to quite a few people now. I've kind of changed my tune a little bit. I mean, honestly, disclaimer, we're not football geniuses. Like, we love these teams. Life gets crazy. We had COVID. I've gotten pretty interested now into Florida State football. Maybe it's because of the podcast now. I want to know what I'm talking about, but I've definitely had that knee-jerk reaction.
Which is easy to do when you're,
0-4.
Yeah. Well, so you had the train wreck that was Willie Taggart, and then now you're going through another transition.
Yeah, it really, I mean, just going how unlucky. I mean, you go from Jimbo, disgruntled, supposedly really just wiped the rug underneath us recruiting wise and left.
Yeah,
Uh,
just not even being there the last year, basically.
Willie Taggart scrambling for 2 weeks trying to get a class. I mean, at that point in time, you don't get to pick who you want. It's just anybody is just like, yeah, I'll come. Like, all right, come on, just come on, you know.
We could have played.
And then I just think with I guess there's just no facts out there that you could grab and say, well, Willie Taggart did this and Willie Taggart did that. But across the board, everybody agrees that he's very unorganized. Um, there's just these crazy rumors left and right where, recruits are coming in town, nobody's there to pick them up, or they tell them to meet at the Bobby Batten statue and the doors are locked, and nobody's there to let them in. And it just sounded very, I think that's what ultimately got him fired, which we talked about that at last episode. And
Yep.
then now you go into Norvell and you saw what happened last year, 3-6, and COVID. I mean, just being able to coach they weren't even allowed to talk to the players half the time. You know what I mean? I mean, they only get 20 hours a week now or before COVID, but it really is just unfortunate how everything's laid out. So now here I am rambling on. Here's the positive, if you can be positive. There's been no stability at all with Florida State football. 3 head coaches in 5 years. New offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators every other year. New position coaches every single year. Not only that is we're just throwing everybody out there. So there's nobody that spends time developing. So you get a freshman offensive lineman, they don't get 2 off seasons, really learn the system. And we're throwing them out there to where they just got out of high school and now they got a torn ACL. Now they got shoulder issues. Now they're having surgery. They're damaged goods by the time where we're really counting on them to be good.
Yeah.
This process is a multi-year process. It's not going to happen overnight. And Norvell's
Or
job
over 5 years.
Norvell's job is safe regardless.
We can't afford anyone else.
He's going to be here until 2023. That'll be his 4th season. I can't tell you that he'll finish that season, but he will be the head coach entering in the 4th season of 2023.
Yep.
I
agree.
People were talking about throw in the young guys. If you look at it, there's no depth whatsoever. The offensive line, defensive line, the linebackers. I think the only thing we really could do is throw some young guys out, wide receiver wise, or maybe DB, the secondary, which they did. I forgot which one it was. They put a freshman out there, and it was one of the long touchdown passes that Louisville scored. He got just in the wrong position. But after the game, and I haven't even talked about the damn game. After the game, somebody asked Norvell, they're like, how do you even recruit? You're 0-4. How do you even recruit? And Norvell went off like he was pissed.
Yeah.
And he started basically just stating there's plays out there that just have to be made that hasn't been made. And it's just like these plays just all started popping up in my head. I mean, just the field goal kicker alone. I mean, if he just made half of his damn field goal attempts, you're adding at least 3 points per game. Now we're going to overtime to Notre Dame. Now we're going, we only lose the Louisville instead of 8, we lose by 5 or that's just field goal kicker. And then you go into the interceptions. I mean, there's a defensive lineman that had an easy pick 6 this last game, and he was already heading downfield, and he's bobbling the ball. Steven Dix the third on the game that Jacksonville State went in dry, the very first play. I mean, literally hit him in the hands. You had Parchment dropped a wide open touchdown against Jacksonville State. You scored that touchdown. Are we even talking about that? We've been getting these late hit penalties, even if they're not even late hits. They had one guy from Wake Forest. He just flung his body. He did a flop, the LeBron James flop. He got a 15-yard penalty. Last game, our guy hit him. It was a close call. You slow it down. He hit him while he was in bounds. And then when he went out of bounds, that's when they threw the flag out.
Yeah.
We run into the punter against Wake. There was a scoop and score that we could have done in Louisville. Our guy says jumps on the ball, and as he rolls, it just pops out and goes to the only Louisville player there. I can probably put a reel of at least like 10, 15 plays and
Where you
say,
almost made the play.
Yeah, it's just like the plays are there to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if that's Travis Hunter, he's got 3 picks already this season. I mean, you're beating yourself.
Yeah.
But then we have to build a foundation. So they've actually have 3 freshmen. One was a 4-star offensive tackle, or ORR is his name, 6'7", 300 pounds. They're not putting him out there. He's redshirting. They got a couple other guys. Oh, Chuba Purdy. Everybody's freaking out. And I was one of those too. Throw him out there. Throw him out there. Let's not throw him out there and mind fuck him
Let
to
him
where
get
he ain't
killed.
gonna be any good. He has no confidence.
Transfer.
It's just like I think they're actually Norvell is lining it up to turn this around. But I think Seminole fans, especially after the end of last year, they understood what a bad situation we're in. But after that Notre Dame game and just being fans, you don't ever accept it. You don't accept it at all. You expect to win every single game.
Yep.
And every game that we played, we were in it. 3 of the 4, that last drive, we could have won the game. Or we put ourselves in a position to go in overtime. The only one game, the 35-14 against Wake Forest, we had 6 turnovers and Ade running into the punter, which they ended up scoring a touchdown on that. I mean, you only lost by three touchdowns. That's just pretty damn good. But they're not quitting. They didn't quit like that other team did. Marvin Wilson, I'm going to NFL, and Tamaron Terry, I'm off the team. People just every other week, people were just leaving. I'm focused on the NFL, focus on murdering people, focus on
Are you referring to last year, or you were referring to
that was Tamaron Terry. But just I think they're doing a good job. And honestly, just think about it. Florida State went 1-10, 1-11, 2-10, whatever. And he brings in this class, which you got to be nervous about it if you continue to lose. But he has to go down as one of the greatest recruiters of all time if he pulls in this class that he's pulling in. Right now, this is the best ACC class, better than Clemson. Like, what? So it's a long way, but let me end it on it. Greg McElroy with Alabama had a good little article. He's pumping up FSU fans, even though we suck, or we think we suck. But he stated, Nick Saban was 6-7 his first year. He lost to Louisiana Monroe, and he said there was one part of the season where they lost 4 in a row, and after that they won 13 straight games and won a national championship 2 years after that. Like I think that was 06, they won 09, or that was 07, that was 09. Winning is contagious. And if you start making those plays and stop shooting yourself in the foot, we're winning games. I mean, we go and beat Syracuse. I mean,
we're back, baby.
Well, yeah. Well, then the next game, I mean, look at that Louisville game, just the tale of 2 halves. We're going in 31-13. In the second half, Louisville gets under 100 yards total offense. That's night and day difference. How can you be so dominant? Did Louisville back off the pedal? Were they just trying to cruise control the win? Or did we come out to play? I don't know. I'm hoping that they didn't quit. They didn't give up. So I'm optimistic.
Hardle, I'll tell you this. I'm a lot more optimistic after that speech. So
hopefully a few more Florida State fans are.
Just hold on a couple more years.
Yeah,
we're there, buddy. We're there.
I'm a lifer, whether like you are, the good, the bad, the ugly. We had that amazing 2013 year, which that was a long time coming.
It's getting farther away too.
Yeah, and it looks like we aren't going to have another one of those for a while. But yeah, so but I also feel like, that's been our MO since we've been bad these last 7 years or so. Oh yeah, but they got a great recruiting class. I hear that every year, bro. Great recruiting class coming in. Oh, 4-star, 3-star, 4-5.
Right.
And are we not developing players? Are they not developing themselves? Are they ranked inappropriately? I don't know. Just a couple takeaways. So you talked about almost everything but the game, like you said. Mackenzie Milton, 24, 30 for 39, 248 yards, 1 touchdown and interception, 11 rushes for negative 20 yards, which on a leg that he shouldn't even be walking on. Yeah, that's not surprising. One of the good takeaways, we had 205 rushing yards total. If you take away Milton's negative 20 on one leg, 225 total rush yards. So good to see that get going. I really like, Chuba Purdy. Fine if, we don't wear him out or kill him on a season that we cannot win a national title at this point. We couldn't have done it after week 2, really. So I'm all for rebuilding next year, whatever the case may be. I will say the quarterback for Louisville, Cunningham is his name. 4 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 passing. I think I saw a graphic on the when I was watching. First, only other player other than Lamar Jackson to have like 5 games of 2 yards rushing and 2 yards or 2 touchdowns rushing and passing, something like that.
Colin Kaepernick was in that too.
Yeah, so he looked good, but yeah, I agree. Like first half, second half, completely different. So hopefully we get at least a couple wins, but this year's I'm kind of like you. I'm on Travis Hunter. I'm looking for next year. We're stuck with Norvell for the foreseeable future, so I haven't seen any Fire Norvell websites yet. I don't know if that's something you've seen or either of you, but it is what it is at this point. Can't go anywhere from up for this season.
I've talked to a couple people, and they're just, a lot of people was just like, I sent out it's like a 4 or 5 minute clip of him responding to the guy about recruiting, and you could tell Norvell got fired up, and Greg McElroy even said like he went to Jimbo's practices, he went to Taggart's, and he was just like Norvell's every minute had a purpose. Like there was no dancing around, people, rapping, talking, just relaxing. Like he's so attention to detail, and you got to think, he's so young, and not only are these players not making the play, the coaches are calling the wrong plays or not making the right decisions. Why is our defense in that cover 2 and they're throwing a Hail Mary to win the game and we're not in position? That goes on the coaches. You know what I'm saying? So we're also having that mix in there too. We got a 29-year-old offensive coordinator, Dillingham. Like, I'm sure Saban had his
issues.
You
got a young coach. You want to have a little bit older, experienced coordinators, offensive and defense coordinators.
It's definitely going to be far in advance before we start turning the corner. But I see a light at the end of the tunnel. The sad thing, I think I saw a stat, and I will move on. I'll try to move on from this, but it was all the second-year coaches. It was Arkansas's coach, undefeated. Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, undefeated. Boston College coach, 4-0, undefeated. There was about Mel Tucker was one of them, and then there was another guy, but they're all in their second year. And at the very bottom it said Norvell's second year, 0-4. I saw a response. Somebody rebutted, and they looked over all the rosters. You know how many seniors is on Arkansas's team right now? 44 seniors. You know how many is on Florida State?
No.
13.
44. So 44, that's basically half the team of seniors.
They get to pick what the better seniors to put out there. We don't get to pick, you know what I'm saying? We're just like, oh, you're a senior, go out there. You know what you're doing. You played for South Carolina last year. Just do what you did out there, because we ain't teaching you anything. Obviously, we can't teach anybody here.
Well, Lane Kiffin too. If you want to talk about Lane Kiffin and compare him, this is his third or fourth run of a big program.
Yeah,
that he's coming. So he's in his second year after third or fourth run at a big program. So if you're talking about, this is Norvell's first big program he's at.
Yeah, right. And
so
it's not
it can take a little bit longer, if they do stick, because he could be a very good coach and be a very good coach for a very long time for you guys. It just might take a little bit longer because what he's experienced prior you can't compare. When you step into that big boy program like Florida State is, and these big time conferences, there's nothing really they compare you for that level of athletes they're going against.
Well, all those
on a regular
schools,
basis.
Ole Misses, Arkansas's, and BC, all them, their senior and junior classes was way over, 60,
Yeah.
50, 60 numbers, and we had 13 seniors, 13 juniors, 70 freshmen, 70.
Yeah.
We're probably not going to be good next year.
And you know what, like Tyler said, if he's going to be the long-term guy, if it takes a few years, I'm okay with that.
And I'm okay if we have a chance to win every single game. If I don't care if we miss a field goal and lose against Syracuse, we were there. We could have won that game.
Yep.
Like, you got to keep fighting. They're not quitting on them. Let's move on to the other terrible team, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep. So just like last week, this is the team that we all love together. NFL. I think that this is now their 18th loss in a row. So Arizona
all had season tickets together at one point, didn't we?
2000.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
4,
we
5, and 6.
Yeah.
I think you did 6, and I guess I didn't let you know that I wasn't. I think I had every intentions. I was going to pay for the last day, and at that time money was tight, and I was like, yeah, I'm not buying them. I won't tell Tyler Adam about that.
There was a year where I think I had them by myself, so I was like, well, I'm going.
Thanks, friend.
It's still fun. Luckily, at that point, we'd had a few years where we knew the people around us.
Hey,
so it wasn't like I was going there and like, man, I'm just literally standing by myself.
And you're still talking to us, so
Yeah.
And looking back with the state of the way the franchise is, you know what, Jags? I'm glad we didn't renew our season tickets that year. So you got one out of 3 of us to do it. But so Arizona at Jacksonville at the bank. Final score 31-19. This game, actually, I think there was a little bit more to look forward, looking back on it, more to take away positive. So close in the whole game, even in the third quarter, ended 24-19. I mean, we were right there in it. And then they scored another touchdown in the fourth. Game ends 31-19. Trevor Lawrence, 22 for 34, 65%, which is really good, in my opinion. The negative, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, only threw for 219 yards. And then other thing that looked really bad, but I think this is kind of like a testament to him being young, 2 fumbles for loss. So Trevor Lawrence, 4 total turnovers. The fact that we were still in that game up until the end of the third is kind of crazy. So one of the other positives of the game, I know we talked about this last week, of us not running the ball enough, trying to give Trevor some relief, take the pressure off of him. So James Robinson by himself, 15 rushes, 88 yards. That's a 6.0 average. And then we had 132 total yards rushing just between Carlos Hyde and James Robinson. I think we had some kicking problems again, if I'm not mistaken. For any viewers, we're recording this a few days late because we had technical issues on Sunday, so it's not as fresh. But so now that this is, a little later in the week, I don't know if you guys saw this today. Lambeau is out for next week on the injury report, but there's no injury. It says personal. So I don't know if he's going through some things. I don't know if I know baseball players go through things where they can't throw the ball to first base. Tyler, I know you had that in high school and college.
What?
But we can talk about that in another episode also. But yeah, so another bad one. Yeah, and like I just kind of threw that out there. So another bad game for us, man. Like I said, 18 in a row. Mentioned this last episode. Wasn't expecting a Super Bowl. Wasn't expecting us to be great this year. I thought 8-8 would have been amazing. Looks like we're not going to do that. I don't remember specifically. I know we talked about Hartle mentioned, Kyler Murray's going to shred our defense, shred us. I don't think he had a crazy game either. Mm-mm. So, he's obviously young as well. But yeah, that's my takeaway. We look good for a few quarters. Trevor Lawrence is what this whole team hinges on. It's what every Jaguar fan has put their hopes, their dreams, their prayers in. But he can't do it all, and he definitely can't do it all in the first year. So that's my takeaway on it. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I saw something Pete Prisco tweeted out on Twitter, the pick six that he threw, which is the flea flicker that he kind of looked rushed. Obviously, he was like falling backwards and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he played a video shot of DJ Shark, and then I don't know who he threw it to or was trying to throw it to.
The other team.
They got to the pick six, but Shark had went up and then darted out to the sideline. Nobody on him. Wide the F open.
Yeah.
I think
the guy guarding him bit hard.
I think I don't know. The running back kind of ran to the right a little bit and then tossed it back. I just felt like it was rushed. He rushed it. Obviously, he didn't set his feet. People were coming right at him also. But I also think if that was Clemson versus Florida State, he's nailing that for a 70-yard touchdown. So I feel like, that rookie mentality of just like your eyes are wide open and just learning it. I think he'll be all right still. But that's a 14-point swing right there. You take away the pick six and you put a touchdown for us, we're looking like Florida State. We're right in there. We could win it.
Well, not only that, the defense was
story of our life, Hartle. Story of our lives.
The defense was doing well during that game, and then right before that happened, they just sliced through us like butter. You're just like, am I watching the same defense that's been playing this whole game? Because they just went down the field so quick on that, and then to also have that flea flicker craziness. It just looked like a total mess.
And
I don't know. It looked like they didn't even practice it. So if you're going to do a trick play like that, you got to have that thing down crisp, because that's the only way that trick plays work.
Right. Yeah. What was it? The 109-yard field goal miss return for a touchdown. So that was a special teams.
Right before the half too. Oh man, that was so exciting.
Longest in NFL history, right?
Yep, tied it. Yep.
Yeah.
So I give a shout out.
So if you take that miracle,
you can't really beat the 109.
I think it was like 109 and a half. I think Camardi's when he did his, Antonio Camardi, who went to Florida State, he was like tiptoeing, like almost falling
His
out.
Toes were on the line. Yep.
And so give him 110. Like go ahead and give that to the Seminole. But we actually, like you said, we had technical difficulties. We're playing tomorrow night. Against
Jags are
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, Cincinnati Bengals. I couldn't think about it. But any predictions there?
Two young quarterbacks. We got that going for us, right? Like obviously, a year under your belt, I think, in the NFL is huge compared to a rookie. But
they handled Pittsburgh last week 24-7. Which
Ben Roethlisberger is awful this year, but
he's 39. What an old
right. Yeah, and he didn't even want to be there 2 years ago. But I actually saw some friends on Facebook and stuff flying there for the game, and my knee jerk reaction was like, never in my life have I been like, where I want to go? Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's say.
I saw some pictures. It looked like they have like a nice downtown area, which I'm sure most cities do, but it kind of caught me off guard. Especially not a playoff game. I know a lot of people go to the Nashville game every year. I can see someone going to a huge city, I don't see us winning.
They're 2-1. I saw something, I didn't click on it. It was just like, I don't even know if it's factual, so might be out here just saying stupid stuff. But they basically said Urban Meyer was saying that every week it feels like every week we're playing Alabama. Welcome to the NFL.
I saw that floating around as well, and I never saw it fact checked. I don't know.
Right.
But like, dude, no shit, bro. all your players are like, all of Saban's players, I'm sure he's close with Saban. All your boys like that he had, they're on every team.
Yeah.
Of course it's Alabama every week, man.
Yeah.
I was looking
There's
at
no way he didn't know that going in. That's just one. That's got to be
no, he can't. No,
thing that he.
I mean, I was sitting here talking about Florida State's roster. I mean, the Jaguars roster. You can't just put, Trevor Lawrence in with a bunch of freaking nobodies. I mean, we don't have anybody. Like who's next? Marvin Jones, maybe DJ Shark.
So I was going to mention that, Hartle.
James Robinson.
James Robinson, you mentioned it the first episode, top 5 rusher. So I kind of disagree with you on this. So you got James Robinson, okay? DJ Shark, clearly our best receiver. Marvin Jones, I think might be a little bit older, but he's definitely, still a pretty good receiver. And a guy that I like, who I want to see get the ball a lot more, is Chenault.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be a successful season, but it wouldn't surprise me if we play a team with a bad defense where Trevor just goes off and, Shark has 2 touchdowns. Jones has 1. Chenault has 1. He throws for like 3 or 4 touchdowns. He'll probably still have a pick. But 350 or 400 yards. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that, but it would be nice to see at least give us like a little bit of glimpse into the future and a little bit of hope.
So we did trade CJ Henderson for Dan Aykroyd or something.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd, tight end
out of University of Wisconsin Platteville. So I did look that up. Don't really like the trade. We got a 3rd rounder out of it. I've also heard that he
didn't want to be here.
Option to, I guess it would have been not a high of draft pick, but either get OJ Howard straight up for CJ Henderson or Cameron Brate with a draft pick. That was also on the table, which kind of, because Tampa Bay needs. I mean, I think they're out there saying they want Richard Sherman after he's been beaten indoors trying to kill everybody.
It got announced today. He's in Tampa Bay with Brady.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think our offense is definitely seasoned. As in just, the offensive line was all same offensive line since last year. I definitely want to see us kind of put a little bit more offensive output. Less of these 3 and outs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Defense is probably where my comment is a bunch of damn no names, because I mean, they're all young guys. I mean, they're still trying to prove themselves. It's tough, but I'm excited. I mean, I'm still excited about the Jaguars, I guess, because I'm excited about Florida State. So, I mean, not a lot of it excites me, obviously.
Yeah, it doesn't take much
to excite you. Yeah. So you're excited about the Jags? Okay. All right.
I guess
I'm definitely excited about the Jags. It's just, Trevor Lawrence.
Excited about their future. But.
Yeah. The last first round quarterback I was this excited about was Matt Jones, and then we made him play wide receiver. So
yeah.
So you know what I mean?
That was the plan all along, right? I mean,
yeah, when they drafted him, we knew.
Yeah, it was. And then he got hooked on the booger sugar, but so excited. Win, lose, or whatever. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna tune in every Jaguar game as I would anyways, but even more so with Trevor Lawrence there. Just hope that Urban and him and they can put it together for some wins and see what happens next year and later this year.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about the Jags next week, right?
Yeah.
So let's you want to go through the other, so talk about Florida State next week.
Yeah, I see probably a close win or a close loss. Syracuse is 3-1. They squeaked by Liberty last week. They have another win that's like a Presbyterian or something. So I mean, I say that and then we're going to lose. But
Liberty was pretty hot coming into the season, right? I mean, they finished last year in the top 25, I believe.
They had Hugh Freeze as their head coach. I don't think he's there anymore. Hugh Freeze took over.
They probably fired him for sinning.
I don't remember.
I didn't realize that he coached at Liberty, but that's surprising.
And I mean, they had him ranked last year, I'm pretty sure, or I've seen him. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely see. I didn't really talk Mackenzie Milton. You know, you could definitely tell his leg is bothering him. I think, you know, in his head, his instinct, he wants to take off and run under duress. And then next thing you know, he's on the ground. I don't think his body is allowing him to do. With that said, you know, he threw it on a laser one time. I think it was the Parchman, but he had 4 Louisville players around him, and he was the only guy that could catch the ball. And it was one of the few times they did catch the ball. And it was like, wow. And it is amazing to see, you know, he has it, or he has that winning instinct, but it's also sad because he just doesn't have it. And I hate talking crap about him, you know.
We're not talking crap. I think he knows it. And, you know, he's just happy to be out there. I will say this. I had huge quarterback envy watching Emory run around the field and, you know, rush for, what was it? How many did he rush for? 144 yards. Yeah. That gave me huge envy.
He threw for 204, rushed for 144.
Rushed for 144. And like you mentioned, Hartle, I think there was a couple times where, you know, he was just trying to get out of the pocket or escape the pressure, and he fell on his own.
Yeah.
So, you know, those are things that he used to be able to do. Now he's just like, dude, you got to be like Brady, man. You got to have a good line that's going to protect you.
Yeah.
Get rid of the ball quickly.
Yeah.
I understand our guys aren't open a lot, and even when they are, like you mentioned, they aren't going to catch it. Where is that game?
It's here in Tallahassee. Going back to Mackenzie Milton, we had a 4th and 4 that was kind of questionable. A lot of people are voicing it. He shouldn't have gone for it because it was kind of deeper on our side. It was between like the 30 and 40-yard line, and they drew up a play for the tight end, and he was wide open, and Mackenzie Milton just completely missed the throw. I mean, he just couldn't get it there, and and you just have to roll with that. I think we make a couple plays. I mean, just seeing how we fought through coming back against Louisville. We haven't gave up any of these games. I think we're going to go into Syracuse, and we're actually favored. That's the shocking part. I think it's 4.5. Don't quote me, but I think we do. I think we win. We feel good, and then we look on to the real part of the season. I mean, we're going to be playing like ranked North Carolina, ranked Clemson, ranked NC State. So
that's when it gets really fun for us.
I tell you what, though, it was a weird feeling for me this past weekend. Now we started this podcast, and part of the podcast is trying to get people to listen to your podcast and want to listen to your podcast. And so it's the first time for me I could really be like, I really, really, really wanted Florida State to win.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, because you know, it's fun to have, you know, I'd love to have 3 teams that are at least doing decent. I don't want Florida State to be as good as Florida, obviously, but I want Florida State to have interest. And when you're not doing very good, it's hard to get that motivation to be like, let me tune in to listen to everything that they have to say on the internet about the Florida State Seminoles. So it was a weird feeling for me.
I have this weird feeling that I'm actually been going kind of for Florida, but when I'm watching it, I think my wife even said, like, so who are you going for, Tennessee or Florida? I'm just like, I don't know. I think I guess Florida, but I don't like when they do good. You know?
Yeah.
No, and not only Tyler, I have several friends, and just like you do, you know, that are diehard Florida fans. I want you guys to, like, just like Tyler said, I want you guys to be good, just not better than us. And I've said this for years. People, we both know those jackass fans on both sides, Florida State and Florida, that are always just like, you know, you see them at, you know, a restaurant, you're watching the game, they're cheering when a guy gets hurt or when we fumble or a pick six, you know, for either one. And I'm like, my thing has always been this. You realize we play each other every year, and you want to beat us every year. Do you want to beat a team with 0 wins, or do you want to beat a team that's ranked in the top 10? Do you realize that helps you better if it's a quality win? So that always just baffles me. It kind of shows you how ignorant and
I'll admit that for me, it's like one of those internal struggles where it's like, it's just too hard. Like in the moment, it's too hard to root for Florida State. While you understand, like, there was nothing that compared to when Florida and Florida State were both at the top and played each other like back in the 90s.
For sure.
I mean, that excitement, two fan bases that, you're both from Florida, so you probably went to school together with a bunch of kids from who supported the other team, and like that type of excitement you just couldn't rival. And we get that, we've had that a lot lately with Georgia, but it's hard in the moment.
Yeah.
When you see that your rival is about to fall to a Jacksonville State, to not like be like, I mean, I kind of want to see it,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I get that. And
yeah,
on a year like this year, like I don't care if you root against us. Like I said, we can't win the national championship.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean specifically years where we're good, or in the past we're both good or whatever. But so Tyler, what about you guys? Who do the Gators got? Where's the game, and what are your thoughts?
So we're playing Kentucky. It's in Kentucky. And Gators have struggled with Kentucky. We had that long winning streak, which was it 29 years or something? It was something insane before we finally lost. So they always play us really well, and I imagine it's going to be another tough game. I wouldn't be surprised if this is much tougher than Tennessee. But one thing I noticed, or one thing that I'm interested to look at is, so Florida's -3 in turnover margin right now. That puts us way down. I want to say in the hundreds in college football for a turnover margin, but Kentucky is dead last at -9. So I'm interested to see, with two teams with like such a big negative margin on turnover, does that equate to more turnovers in the game, or does it equate to less turnovers in the game, since both defenses seem to struggle with actually getting turnovers? So
yeah,
I think that'll be a key in the game, is, who's going to have more turnovers. And, so I'll be interested to see that. That's what I'll be watching for. But obviously I think the Gators will win. I think we have, being very talented on offense and good running, having a good running game, 3 good running backs. I think that's going to give us a big advantage.
Yeah. I don't see any possible way that you guys lose this game. And I know it's easier for me to say as not having, a vested interest in it. I just don't see you guys losing. What I will be interested to look at is to see what the first half's going to look like. So, you guys, no surprise against Alabama, rough first half, right? That's expected. You guys pulled away, in the second half and made that a really close game where you could have won it. The bad first half against Tennessee was kind of surprising. So it will be interesting to see, are you guys a true second half team regardless of who you play? Is Mullen just out there giving the best halftime speeches that make Tebow speeches look bad? So it'll be interesting to see what goes on with that game, and I'll definitely be watching, that along with Florida State.
Yep.
So yeah, it's 7:00, 7:30.
I don't remember.
Is it a night game? I can't remember. Yeah. Sorry.
I feel like it most likely is a night game. I can't remember.
Yeah. Y'all are prime time.
I mean, I can look it up.
I think we're at 6 a.m. Nobody really wants to see our game. ACC Network.
6 a.m.
The way I like
we're
it,
we're on that London time. Right?
That way, when I wake up on Saturday morning, I don't have to sit through the damn game. I can just look at the ESPN app and it'll tell me, did we win or lose? And I'm like, all right, we lost. Okay, we won. Good.
Yeah, I remember there was a time
the Olympics
when we were talking about going for Florida State or Florida, or just like, oh, lose to the team. Like being a Jaguar fan has been tough.
6 p.m. by the way.
So I'm out here at Tallahassee, and I wear a Jaguar hat, and for some reason people just love giving you these like gut wrenching or common sense, like, oh man, y'all are bad. Like, yeah, kick us while we're down. Like, what the hell? Like, when I come over here, like, man, you're fat, dude. Like,
your comeback should be, do you know what city we are in right now, bro?
They'll be like, yeah, my team, the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? Oh, of course.
No,
yeah.
So let me guess. The Yankees is your baseball team. The Lakers is your,
yeah. Right. Yeah,
Manchester
Never lived in
United,
Boston, but Patriots is their favorite team. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay
those fans are the best.
Lightning
Yeah.
fan,
It's
right?
almost like liking the Red Sox and you never lived in Boston.
Yeah, that's crazy.
At least you always like the Boston Red Sox way before they ever
Or all those
Yeah.
Gator or all
started
those
winning again.
Gator alumni fans,
Yeah, real quick. Went there in 2002 for my senior trip with a few of my best friends. Went to Fenway, fell in love with it. Been a fan since. So that's my story. Sticking to it. Never been any other fan of any other team. So anyhow, that's another episode. Anyone got anything else before we sign off?
Nah, I think we're probably over an hour on the second recording, so
Okay.
we probably should be signing off and reminding people to subscribe, like, and if you don't even have a YouTube channel, go ahead and start one up so you can like, follow, hit the bell, do everything.
Sign
Yep,
into
like-
YouTube.
If you don't know how to do it, email me. I'll get Adam. He'll set you up with a whole Google account.
Yes, I will. All right, guys. We'll talk to you all soon. And thanks for everyone for checking it out. And we're going to try to do this consistently. Like I said, technical issues on Sunday. We recorded this on a Wednesday. We might even do something for tomorrow's Jags game. But yeah, love you guys. See ya.
All right, brothers. Later.
Everyone.